I'm crazy, Captain.
Yes.
I'm nasty, Captain.
Bro, what?
Yes. I had to get rid of
Nah,
him.
he was
bro.
being toxic.
Every time, he does this every day, man.
Why are you unbanning him? Just keep him
I don't
banned,
know,
Like,
bro. Man.
go. One more to go.
Welcome everybody to the Onward VR Master League Season 12, Week 12 Venues Showcase. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am joined by my co-caster Nomad. How are you this fine afternoon, Nomad?
Oh, fantastic. A great Onward matchup followed by the Super Bowl. Can't be any better than this.
Whoa, gotta call it the big game. Okay, we don't want to get copyright flagged out the gates. But yes, one big game after the next, that's for dang sure. Phantoms and Boss Fight duking it out here this afternoon. 2 top EU squads in the VR Master League regular season ladder. For those tuning in that maybe don't know what Onward is a 5 versus 5 military simulator. The attacking team, Marsoc, attacks the objective. The defending team, Volk, defends the objective. If the attacking team gets within a certain radius of the objective and enters in a 7-digit code, they get themselves 2 points. Otherwise, you try to kill the opposing team to net yourself 1 point. It is a best of 7, and we play 3 best of 7s. Every round, the team swaps sides, and every 2 rounds, the objective changes location. We'll get more into that in a little bit when the rounds actually begin, and we do get some new objectives and whatnot. But you obviously do see a few things beneath me here. These are the pick bands for this afternoon. Teams have a select group of maps to pick from that they're choosing at the start of the regular season. Phantoms are the home team. They get to ban first. Boss Fight are the away team. They get to ban second. And Nomad, let's take a look at both of these bans coming in from Phantoms and Boss Fight today.
Yeah, so starting with the Phantoms, they decided to ban Tanker. Meanwhile, Boss Fight decided to ban Cargo. A couple of very small maps in our limited map pool out of the way, so some medium to long range engagements should be expected today.
Yeah, and there are still a few close quarters maps in that map pool, in that selection, that could be chosen from. So, you know, just to go into our first map pick, it is going to be onto Suburbia, which is, I think, one of the only remaining close quarters maps available in the pool for this back half of the season. But we were talking earlier offline, Nomad, and you said that you anticipate Suburbia to be this first map pick. Why did you say that?
Between these two teams, they've played each other 4 times.
Okay.
Boss Fight has won all 4 times. This is the only map that Phantoms have beat Boss Fight on, so historically they should win it, and it seems to be their more popular map pick throughout the season so far. So overall, they're comfortable here, and they're looking forward to get a W here.
Yeah, we have a wealth of stats to dip into over at vrml.com/onward/teams. You can look at all of the teams, all of their stats, every map they've played in every season, all of their win rates, all of the info you could ever desire. The player profiles, what games they played in, what different leagues they've played in. Some players have played in Echo and Onward and Pavlov. They've really dipped their toes into the whole VRML set of games to be played. And it's great to see. If you're also wondering what VRML is, it is a community-driven VR esports league run by the community for the community. If you want to get involved, head on over to vrml.com and you'll find links to the discords of all of the different leagues. And we also do have applications for if you want to be get involved at a different level within the VRML organization. I think we are just about ready to get into the action, though. I'm going to go ahead and give the teams a little bit of a go ahead, and I think we can kind of get into a little bit of the theory crafting here, what we're going to expect to see here today. Like we said already, we anticipate a little bit more long range since both Tanker and Cargo are off the table. Suburbia, though, to kick things off, is definitely going to be fast. Suburbia is a very... well, it can be played slow, but typically a map that is played out very quickly. I think with both of these teams, we should anticipate some aggression, but also that ability to stall out and buy time. Each round has a 6-minute timer, and so both of these teams have the toolkit necessary, and they have multiple strategic options of approach on multiple objectives. And so I mentioned earlier at the start of this stream that we rotate sides each round. We swap sides each round, and then we swap objectives every 2. It's both of these teams have to have well-prepared strategies for a variety of scenarios. It is always so fun whenever I tune into an Onward game. Even after 12 seasons, several years of watching Onward, I still get so excited about the plays and seeing these teams put together seemingly an endless amount of new strategies. I mean, Nomad, it feels like, to me at least, I'm always seeing something new in a league match.
Yes, the meta always changes. It's a living organism. It always evolves. It's never the same thing over and over again. So, and with new teams coming in, new ideas come in, and it's always it's never a dull moment. That's for sure.
There certainly has been a lot of new teams. I think if you look at the active player count between season 11 and 12, if I have my numbers right, it is almost doubled from 1,000 to 1,900 plus active players. So a lot of new folks have been coming into the VRML. And if you are maybe considering checking out what is a fantastic VR shooter, I do recommend you go check out Onward and then go to vrml.com/onward and join the league Discord, meet some new folks, get involved in some competitive lobbies, and really start to get into the nuance of competitive Onward, because it can really soak up a lot of your gaming time. It is a fantastic shooter that really has a lot of nuance it has just a huge, I know it can seem frightening sometimes, but it does have a big skill gap. The beauty of VRML is that if you are new, you'll be joining and fighting against teams that are also new. And so, the whole idea is that, the VRML places you into a skill set, into a rank that you are comfortable playing in, and you then get equal competitive matches. It is a really fun league to participate in. I haven't played myself in the league in quite some time, but I have been obviously involved with the VRML and doing broadcasting for quite some time, and so I always do recommend it. I know that players are more than often having fun when we're casting these games. I mean, I feel like almost every time I tune into a team overhead right before they start a round, they're always joking around or having fun with each other. And that's the real core, I suppose, drive for playing in the VRML, right, Nomad?
Oh, exactly. And you're having fun. You're playing with friends. And you get someone like Nightfire to cast you, so what could be better?
Yeah, please. Well, looks like we are about ready to hop into the action. We had to do a little bit of a stalling there as we waited for an additional player to hop into the lobby. Active rosters for today over on Phantoms are Nuclear, Tipo Duro, Pablo Crumper, Aquiles, and Abluto?
My Spanish is very rusty. I'm from Canada. We don't have...
man. My Spanish doesn't exist, so apologies for butchering the names. But a key probably? I don't know. Boss fight have Scooby-Doo, Little Sayonara, Archer, Woods 43, and Icy Woods. The standard rosters there. And we should be now hopping in to the action for round number 1 of map number 1 here. Phantoms on the attack as they are the home team. They chose this map. They go onto the attacking side. Boss fight get to defend. And we're kicking it off here with a tank objective.
And the 2 key buildings for this objective to defend are going to be Center House and Spawn House, which is the house that Boss fight spawned from as Volk. And it looks like we're going to have a 3-2 split coming from Phantoms. We have Pablo and Nuclear coming from lane 2, and the remainder coming from lane 4.
Each of these lanes are named 1, 2, 3, and 4, as there's 4 entry points to get into the middle of the map. It's, well, I wonder if it is agreed upon universally within the community. We should do a poll. What lane is number 1 and what lane is number 4? So I'm sure it does differ between some teams, but yes, from, I guess, west to east. It's 1 to 4 with how we're going with it. And Nuclear now pushing up through 1. Checking out to that window where Woods is tucked in, but Woods is holding a much later angle. Boss fight. Don't need to necessarily push out and look for any picks out through that window, as it can get very dangerous. There's a lot of potential spots where you can get scooped up from if you do check out that window. Woods is instead just holding a late angle where eventually someone will have to push out towards APC. That's where they're going to look for the kill. Everybody else is staying tucked in, and well, Phantoms are trying to work their way up through the midfield now as they do get a little bit of control of this center half of the map. The rest of the trio taking control of Playground.
And some of the first shots going off right now. Scooby-Doo trying to take out, looks like Tipoduro in Playground. Scooby-Doo, of course, playing from the spawn house mailbox. A common location to be hiding in.
Ooh, that's a good flash. No push off of it, though. Both Abludo, I just heard it say it. Okay, we got it. Abludo and Tipo are tucked in there for a brief second. Flashes, what is you know what the time is? How long it actually flashes you for?
I believe it's 6 seconds.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I had in my head as well. So, going with that. But a short duration, nonetheless. Sometimes a long duration if you're going for a cap underneath that blind eyesight.
Wow,
but either
what
way,
a nade.
yeah, a couple of good tosses have been coming in from Boss Fight's side. We almost had another nade from Icy Woods, and now a lot of utility is coming in as Nuclear charges up into the 2-story and catches out Woods. They have control of this 2-story now, and they're going to challenge Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo looks for a piece of the action, but doesn't connect with it. And the rest of this Playground push hasn't really advanced forward yet. All of the smokes have come in, but Woods is still just patiently waiting behind the sandbags, just barely misses the shots there. As Aquiles is flanking onto the side here, Woods goes down, but to Tipo instead of Aki, as Aki does find that confirmed. Now it's up to Archer and Scooby-Doo, and they don't have great coverage of the objective here. Archer now the lone defender, as Nuclear finds another kill. Phantoms with a great offensive approach here. Archer has to hold, and again, they don't have coverage of the front of objective.
Going to be capping. He's tapping out. Archer's still hiding behind the house.
Oh.
And
Wow.
a trade will come out. Nuclear is going to trade with Archer. The Phantoms will win, only gaining 1 point from elimination out of the possible 2 points if there was a cap.
That could have, well, for who, I suppose. Phantoms still get a point. But yeah, a missed opportunity as Nuclear has to get a few more kills, 4-1 at the end of that round, almost the full ace. But it's moments like that where, communicating to your team, hey, I'm on the objective, I'm punching in the code, I'm going to be capping this, that you then almost want to avoid shooting and killing the opposing team, because right there, it ended the round, whereas all they really needed was maybe 5 more seconds, and it could have been 2 points to Phantoms right now. So I would say maybe a lucky break for Boss Fight in this case, that Archer did push out there and did get caught out, because that could have been worst case scenario. Phantoms map pick, and they start off with 2 points. It's the exact opposite of what you want to kick off the series if you're a Boss Fight player or fan. And now we do swap sides, as mentioned earlier. Boss Fight now go on the attack, Phantoms go on the defense, the same objective placement. And so we'll get to see what Boss Fight do on the attack. They get their opportunity next, but pretty quick round. I mean, they were pushing in, within 2 minutes.
Oh, definitely. And this is sort of like the standard meta of EU. They start off slow, but just like a tidal wave, they slowly gain momentum and they slowly charge in to the point where they're on objective and crashing hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is exciting to watch for sure. I always do enjoy tuning into a high-tier EU battle, and as what we are in store for here this afternoon. As we do go into round number 2 of map number 1. If you're just tuning in, you're here for some good quality VRML onward action.
And a surprise here, zero pre-fire going on from this lane respawn coming from boss fight. Suburbia is notoriously known for pre-firing at the very beginning of rounds, as there are firing lanes all the way across the map between spawns. Looks like Woods 43 taking the slide, trying to be the beacon to catch out any rotations, which are not going to happen.
Ooh. There is that risk of peeking the window right here as Archer scoops up one. Now Tipo may challenge next. They could be vulnerable as they fly that corner and do not connect with Archer. A near kill there. That could have been a double right away, but Archer misses. They tuck away into a different position, and again, all sorts of different angles that they can check this window from. So it makes it very hard for Tipo to really know where those bullets could be coming at them from.
And a close nade coming from Little Sayonara just hits the window panel just before the window itself and almost getting within the window, and could have been basically a 5v3.5.
Well, I think what they were trying to do is an air burst, because that's a crazy nade. From look at where they threw it from. I think they were trying to get it over the edge and burst them in the window.
Yeah, you gotta be fairly skilled and highly experienced with nades to truly know just how well you have to cook a nade. Get exactly where you want it to be.
Come on. The perfect timing and then the perfect throw velocity. I mean, everything is done in VR. So, always impressive when you do see something like that, even attempted. It is always good to point stuff like that out. And yeah, a nice effort there, but not quite enough. And right now, Boss Fight are playing standard Boss Fight strategy, poking and prodding as they have taken control of the midfield. No aggressive defensive setups here. And so Boss Fight really have good control right now. The point of now execution is coming up, though, and they are going to have to get good smoke placements, maybe find one more pick if they're fortunate, and then eventually try and push up to this objective. And they really have to get rid of Tipo Duro first if they do want to try and have an open cap angle.
Building is the key point to take over. Scooby-Doo does get a pick now, making it a 5v3.
You have to speak up over the roar of the LMGs.
Oh. Those dang LMG guys.
Oh, here's Archer, and they find Tipo down as they get distracted by Sayonara out the window. Another kill coming in. Scooby's on objective. The smoke is there. A key is not pushing in. Neither is, well, it's just a key, and Boss Fight find the cap this time. A great push. Execution done perfectly as they don't lose a single player on their attack and go up 2-1.
And that round exemplifies what a master tier team really is. They were 5v1 with that cap. That's how you play Onward, is you work as a team, you move it as a team, and you cap as a team.
And, you know, that is on Phantom's case, though, that it is counterable. You know, they're very the opposite result would be that everybody that tried to push there lost all of their firefights, and you lose your entire front line in a flash. And suddenly you're into a 2v4 on offense, and it's a very different situation. But very well played on the attack there. And we'll have to see what this series delivers, because 2 Marsoc rounds out the gate is certainly exciting. Oftentimes, there is a narrative within the VRML community that the Volk side has an advantage, because you get to sit and defend the objective and wait for the attacking team to come to you. But some teams have really excelled at figuring out good strategies on the attack, and they know how to break through a ready and waiting defense. This next objective, as we do swap sides every 2 rounds, or do swap objectives every 2 rounds, we swap sides every round. This next objective is, I would say, a bit tougher to capture on. Definitely an easier defense objective. And so, boss fight going into a 2-1 lead, now swapping sides to defense, may find themselves with an opportunity to push this up 3-1. It's all going to come down to how Phantoms approach this as we get into round 3.
As well, mate. I might even start firing before you.
So all the positioning and the use of utility. If you are Marsoc, you need to be on the utility, flashbangs, smokes, and nades, because you're going to expect the defense to be in the patios of all those 6 houses on the North Street. So to flush them out with nades and flashbangs is going to be the key.
Sometimes you'll see aggressive defensive setups on this playground side. Ooh, and there was a C4 placement that nearly caught out Nuclear, but was detonated a little bit too early. Sayonara is set up onto aggressive forward position up through the center, but they take their shots and miss onto Tipo, and so Phantoms just keep moving forward up through this playground side and are now challenging IC Woods on the edge. A couple more utility pieces coming in that aren't going to connect with anybody, and still into a 5v5 as both, well, mostly just Phantoms, Nuclear and Tipo poke and prod at this front line, while the rest of the offense is making sure that there's no counter aggression, making sure boss fight aren't going to throw anything at them from the other side and try and flank them.
And which a flank could be deadly, because as you can see, they have Phantoms have a heavy commitment to playground. So if Sayonara decides to make a push from, let's say, South Street, that can be a whole world of hurt for the Phantoms.
They do have Pablo watching this lane for now, but I absolutely agree there. It could be bad news. And boss fight are, well, Sayonara certainly could commit to that. I certainly, it's not out of the playbook, so to speak, for boss fight. And this is a interesting play here to come in from Phantoms. I want to see what the execution phase looks like on this as they find IC Woods and open up this edge for them now. Now Nuclear is free. Everybody is comfortable to sit on this side and just dump rounds down range. When's the utility coming in? How much is left? All these questions still remain as we got 3:40 left on the clock.
And they'll have to be careful, though, because they still have Woods 43, the brother of IC Woods, and Scooby-Doo. They're all staring down lane 3 and 4, which the white smoke is going to block both players' field of view. Come down to Archer now to hold off lane 4.
Oh, this is the heavy smoke play. Phantoms are going for a cap on this objective. It is a hard objective to capture because of the defensive positioning. But they are still going for it nonetheless, or at least it seems that way with all these smokes. A big defensive position here for Archer as they wait for this push to come in, but they lose more, and Tipo swings to connect right away onto that kill. Another goes down, and boss fight lose everybody but little Sayonara, who does connect onto one. Do they know they're alone? Objective is completely open, but no push is coming in. Sayonara comes crashing back in a fit of panic, so to speak, but Phantoms are putting together a fantastic Marsoc round right now as they are in a 3-1 advantage, and Sayonara is pinned.
Here comes the rotation for the gap, but that will get quickly shut down by Sayonara. No smokes remaining to cover that cross, unfortunately. But they do know where Sayonara is now. They must be aware of a kill count. They must know that he is the last one up. And here comes that rotation. Oh. And wow. What a finisher.
I don't know if you heard it, but I certainly did. That was a empty ammo click that came in there for little Sayonara. As they swung the corner, their gun was out of ammo. Or they didn't rack it around into the chamber. Either way, that is the end result, and Phantoms come out on top. What was a potential comeback is, well, now a tie game 2-2, and another relatively fast round. I mean, all of these rounds, we haven't gotten past the 2-minute mark, so they've all been within 4 minutes time. as they've been pushing into Suburbia. But, geez, this is, I mean, just if you're new or even a veteran, take notes on these Marsoc plays and how they're executing them.
Yeah, this is the definition of a well-played round. You're seeing two teams playing as teams. They're not. They are communicating. They are coordinating. So they are definitely not playing like a group of individuals. They are essentially pushing as one entity, and that is how Phantoms got their Diamond Star, and definitely how Boss Fight got their Master Star. It did not happen overnight.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. We haven't talked about it much, but both of these teams have been in the league for a long time. Phantom since Season 7. Boss Fight almost as old as the league itself, since Season 2. Not even, probably Season 1, theoretically. I don't know if we are even tracking statistics throughout Season 1, but both of these teams have been around in this game for a very long time. And that's not to say that the teams haven't changed. There certainly have been roster shakeups. Boss Fight in particular is looking at a relatively new roster with a couple of fresh additions this season.
Sayonara being one of the new additions, as well as the Wood Brothers coming back together as the same team.
Yep. Same team, different brand. We always love to call out the family pairings, as we did yesterday with the father-son duo. And that's what we got here. Well, not what we got here today. We do have a brother duo, and one brother goes down. I see Woods dead underneath the Humvee. And it's looking like a bit of a quicker paced push for Boss Fight this round, as they already dish out the smokes into that middle street and start to set up for this push onto the west side. They find a key kill to open up, well, what is being called lane 4. We were calling it lane 1. See, we're already getting corrected.
Those Europeans have to be different, don't they?
Man. I'm glad I at least theorized that it could be different, because it's certainly the case here. Scooby has a great smoke play as they fly past Abuedo. Pablo able to find the kill. And the rest of Boss Fight haven't necessarily pushed up quite yet, as Woods 43 still sitting in the midfield, cautious of a potential flank, and Archer just kind of poking and prodding, hunting for anything that they can find. But Boss Fight find themselves at a disadvantage here, 3-4.
Abe Luto with a great situational awareness, knowing that lane 1 was open, or lane 4, I should say, so I rotate back to white card to fill in the gap that Scooby-Doo exploited. And takes down the second brother, Woods 43, of the refrag coming from Little Sayonara. Lane 4, or lane 1 sometimes, is back open again.
Oh boy. That's why I go with Cardinal direction, because you're never wrong there. And Archer, well, maybe not wrong, but certainly finds some bullets from Aki's gun, and they go down. Sayonara alone now on this attack. Phantoms looking to swing this map into their favor, 3-2, if they can come out on top here. Aki certainly radioing in that Sayonara is over on this side, and look at that. Nuclear just pre-fires through the wood and almost catches Sayonara on the rotation, just off of the comms from his teammate.
That's when you know a player's been around for quite some time. Knowing the potential of a rotation and the potential of a defender's location, as we've seen there from Little Sayonara onto Nuclear, making a 1v1.
Wow, this could be the clutch here for Little Sayonara that can put this final kill together. They got a lot of time, 3 minutes left on the clock. I wonder what their general strategy is going to be. Maybe try and find a dead teammate, get some resources, find some utility. All of that rotating could cost them their life, as Aki is getting aggressive here, and that aggression actually does not pay off. Sayonara played it cautiously, and Phantoms do not take the lead. Boss Fight go up 3-2, and we go to our next objective.
Yes, one of the newest objectives on this map, the playground objective. I'm a little curious as to why we had that late game aggression on
Yeah.
that round. Not
Yeah,
something you really see.
I feel maybe it's just the overall momentum and pacing that we've had in this series. You know, it just has been so quick. There hasn't been waiting around or, too much methodical movement. It has been very quickly advance to the center, hunt for picks. If we don't find any, then let's go with our play. And I think what happened there is maybe a just really a false audio cue or a false sense of confidence in their information. You know, I think that they just felt that they were guaranteed to find the final attacker on that backside there, and we're just not ready for Sayonara to drop all the way to that back street. It was a little bit, I wouldn't say unnecessary because they had so much time, but I think it is what caught that final defender on Phantoms off guard. And you know, a nice reset of pace can do a lot for you, and that's exactly what Sayonara did. They reset the pace of that round, and it caught the final defender of Phantoms out.
Yeah, and that's what's to be expected if you're last person up for Marsoc.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a game of shoot and scoot. You look for a pick, you fire, you rotate, you scoot. And you just keep doing it back and forth until eventually you find all your kills. In this case, it worked out with Volk going on the rotation and getting that final pickup.
Into round 5?
Yeah.
We have to yell for a little bit here. A lot of pre-fire typically comes out at the start of the rounds.
A massive wall of smoke on the, I guess it would be the east side of the map for Little Sayonara to make a rotation
4-1 down via
over the
center
north
house.
side. That's going to be problematic for Phantoms if they're not careful.
Oh my goodness. Nickel miner shot there from Woods. Akio goes down to some team fire over the top from Nuclear. Certainly not intended. They could pick up the res here, turn this at least into a 3v4. Oh, and Abluto finds one. There's the revive, though, so it stays 3v4. But a full kill confirmed. An interesting defensive position here from Woods, as that nade nearly finds them.
Little science spot paying dividends now with one kill already, and a trade come from Woods and Abluto, making it a 3v1 in favor of the boss fight.
It is all up to a key who is distracted by a couple of different positions up through the center. Sayonara on the side. Boss fight. Bounce back from a tough start, losing the Marsoc round with a quick cap and ultimately taking Phantom's map pick 4-2. A fast map number 1 here as we wrap up the start of this series. We still have a few more maps left ahead of us. We always play all 3 maps out, so we are guaranteed at least 2 more maps of VRML action, so there is still plenty left ahead. We should be getting right into map 2 shortly. It's just a matter of boss fight deciding where they want to go. And no, Matt, we talked a little bit about offline, but where do you think we're going to be headed for map 2 here?
Judging from the history, I would say Quarantine. For that reason being, this season alone, boss fight is 5 for 5 on Quarantine. And boss fight's known to enjoy the long-range maps. So both cases would suit the theory well.
Yeah, it's certainly an option on the table there if this team wants to go to Quarantine. We may be having well, hopefully not any tech issues, and we will be getting into this map 2 shortly, and there it is. The choice has been made. It is going to be Quarantine for our map pick number 2 here out of boss fight. And well, you know, map pick doesn't mean everything. Quarantine in particular is interesting, and while boss fight are very skilled on this map, it still has the most variety on any map available in Onward. And that meaning that there are, I think, I've been saying this number. I feel like I heard it somewhere, and it's right. 14 potential objectives on quarantine. It might be 12, but I feel like it's 14, and I've been saying it's 14. I think someone has to do the math, but I think there is 14 potential objective spawns. This means that in a regular map play, which best of 7, you can only get 4 potential objective spawns, as we do rotate sides every round and then change objectives. So you really don't necessarily know what you're going to get on a map like Quarantine. Other maps like Suburbia and Cargo have maybe 6 or 7 potential objective spawns, and that means you have a little bit more certainty on the play style that you're going to get yourselves into. And you know, it's why I like Quarantine so much, because it has the real built-in variety to the map, and you just never know what you're going to get. And with Boss Fight and Phantoms, with how they've been playing that map 1, Nomad, I am just looking forward to how this Quarantine shakes out.
I'm just happy that they did Quarantine, because Quarantine is by far and away my favorite map.
Yeah.
So to see these two teams duke it out in Quarantine, I'm already happy. You know, my day's already been made.
Yep, it is going to be a great map too. We are just patiently waiting for the 5th of Boss Fight to pop in. Not getting any indicators of a timeout. So to me, what that means is that Boss Fight are likely subbing in a player here. Boss Fight have a full 8-player roster, as do Phantoms. And that means that at any given time, they can't play everybody that they have rostered on their team. The reason that teams have, or that we really allow 8 players, is several reasons. Obviously, if you need a sub for a person that can't attend for a certain match, you can bring in somebody that you know and have familiarity playing with, but also because some players excel on certain maps. They are sort of an expert on a particular space or a particular map, and it makes it so that your team can adapt and shift to different maps and not have really any weak point, any map that you aren't necessarily strong on, because you always have at least one player who really likes playing that map. And so I think Boss Fight are subbing in someone right now. It could be a tech issue, as I did see the disconnect at the end of that round, but that also could mean that they had this planned for map number 2. They're going to bring in this sub, and it's just going to be a matter of this person being ready and warmed up and watching maybe even this game to see how Phantoms are playing and be ready for this map number 2. But that's all we're waiting on, for that 5th to pop in here for Boss Fight, and then we will kick it off into map number 2. But I don't mean to take all of the air out of the room, Nomad. A great time here to also address our sponsors. If you don't know, these teams are competing at the end of the day for what is now $7,000 in cash and hardware prize pool. That prize pool comes together from our sponsors of the VRML. Those sponsors are ProTube VR. They offer fantastic stocks for your controllers that help stabilize your aim in-game. All kinds of varieties, from standard cups to magnetic cups to haptic feedback controllers. I highly recommend you go check out ProTube VR. VR cover, offering fantastic comfort pad, different cushions, face cushions for any VR headset. Significantly enhances comfort. A must-buy the instant you get a VR headset. I know that you have one, Nomad. I love my VR cover.
Yeah, I can say with absolute certainty that VR cover is definitely worth it for a Valve Index.
Oh, yeah.
Just from personal experience.
Yeah. And like I said, they have them for everything. So your Quest 2, whatever you got, head on over to VR cover. Check it out. They also have some other products like head straps and whatnot that I do recommend. So head on over to VR cover. I think we have a link in Twitch chat for you if you do want to find your way over there. We also have VRML, obviously contributing into the prize pool. We want to contribute and help see the continue to see VR esports grow. So VRML contributes in to that prize pool. We also have HyperX coming in with fantastic products like the HyperX Quadcast X, but also the HyperX Cloud 2 headsets, amongst a couple of other fantastic products like their Bluetooth earphones, which work great with your Quest 2. you really do minimize all the wires in all the spaces. So I recommend you go check out the HyperX products. We do appreciate them sponsoring us as well. And we have had the 5th connect just in time. Nomad, as it seems we will be hopping into round 1 shortly. It looks like the active rosters for both teams in map number 2 are going to be on boss fight Scooby-Doo, Little Sayonara, Archer, Woods 43, and Legal. And over on Phantoms, we have Nuclear, Tipo Duro, Pablo Crumper, Aki, and Abe Ludo. The standard 5 over there for Phantoms. But Legal has been subbed in for one of the Woods brothers. And so Woods 43 no longer feeling that family bond in game.
It looks like Icy Woods has been condemned to being the league moderator as opposed to a player now.
928-975.
Yeah, we do appreciate all of the volunteer work that does go into the VRML even being able to exist. So a big shout out to all of the mods, really, and everybody that does contribute their time into making VRML what it is. We don't address it enough in the streams, but I really do. I mean, I know Nomad too. I mean, everybody that's part of the league really does appreciate all the work that goes in to helping us, well, enjoy the good quality VRML action that we are enjoying right now, because this is good stuff. As round 1 kicks off, it is going to be a full north push from boss fight as they get what has been dubbed the old crater spawn, but northeast spawn if you don't want to go with any sort of convoluted naming convention. Sayonara is on the hunt for Nuclear here, and it's going to be interesting to see how Nuclear plays this out as the flash comes up and over. I don't think that caught Sayonara, but still the trade comes in, and Nuclear and Sayonara both down and resable. Sometimes in this game you can get shot and still be alive. You can radio into your team that you're down, and then your team can come up and resurrect you. And so that's what's happened there. Woods has resurrected Sayonara, and Sayonara has then shot Nuclear on the ground to confirm the kill.
And we're starting to see an adaptation to the defense as both Luto and Tipodoro have now rotated to the north to confront Sayonara and Woods 43. And I can hear a drone.
Yeah, we did see that come out early from Scooby-Doo. They are utilizing that drone. A piece of utility that can be super effective on the Marsoc side. You can deploy it out and you navigate with it using your tablet, just like you sort of would in real life, I guess. And it's a great way to scout out positioning and allow your team to confidently push up. The driver of that drone is radioing in information to the team as they see it. And so a lot of info here that boss fight are working with as they advance forward up towards this objective.
Yeah, and with the current rules of the VRML, the drone is only allowed on what are considered large maps, and with Q1 being a large map, we see it here as opposed to Suburbia.
Yeah, wow, it would certainly give you quite a what would be considered maybe an unfair advantage on a map like Suburbia, but
oh yeah,
you could literally point and shoot through bushes. Tipo catches Lego trying to swing west. Boss fight cut down to 4. Phantom still with 4. They have 1 in center burning. Could be a key element in shutting down any rotations coming in from Archer, but everybody else pretty focused in on this west side.
And Scooby-Doo is locked in on center burning. They are aware of Achilles' position. That's actually quite a critical position, as there is a capping point in between the airplane and the building.
Uh-oh. Woods is inside objective building. As they flew down to find one, Tipo's going to swing the corner. A nice nade toss. Woods flies and catches the trade. It opens up this objective building entirely, and Sayonara just has to walk down the stairs and punch in the code.
Yeah, we're going to have to see a rotation coming from Pablo, but who is currently at the west scaffolding. One smoke grenade or a bullet to the chest from Archer will definitely deny that.
Sayonara still not pushing down the stairs. So much time of a fully exposed objective, as Aki is the only alive defender, and they are stuck in the center of the map. They're going to have to commit to fully pushing out, and that's going to expose themselves to some dangerous angles. One that Archer certainly is going to find, but doesn't seem to take shots, or maybe not doesn't see it. Either way, Aki does make it into the center objective space and can now actually defend from a potential cap, at least from inside. Archer can still cap from the outside.
Yeah, there's 2 potential capping positions on the outside of the airplane. But I believe they're probably going to try and encircle and kill. But I don't think they're fully aware of... I don't think they have an accurate kill count.
Yeah, that is my thought. Maybe they don't know that they have full control of that center building because the trade happened. Although Sayanora's there... Looks like Sayonara is going to push down to a key on the outside, potentially. Yeah, they're going to go for this engagement on the corner.
The key's getting pinched now by Sayonara and Archer. They will get the kill, giving boss fight their first point.
Sure I was gonna get that.
Scooby was about to drop off the edge and jump down for the cap, which they could have secured easily. So... really, you know, just like Phantom started their round, boss fight, unfortunately, don't get the cap, and Phantoms are fortunate that they don't have a 2-0 deficit to work against right now, going into this next round. Now, here's the real mind game would be if Phantoms manage to get a cap here, and we just do reversals of the plays that we had on Suburbia.
Yeah, and the cap is possible as. With most, if not all objectives, you just have to be within a small radius of the objective, which means there are some pretty unique capping points. I'll just drop some cameras right. Meow. That one there, that hole at the fuselage, if you get your tablet inside that hole, that is a capping point. The other unique one is right here, in between the building and the fuselage. You get between there, you get your tablet in just the right spot, you can cap there as well. All the while, with Achilles was in that one position, both places, I doubt they would have been able to deny the cap, as to be unaware it was taking place in the first place.
Yeah. Yep. Again, fortunate outcome, really, for Phantoms there, but obviously not ideal, as they do lose the round and now have to put together a Marsoc approach of their own, which can be difficult. A very different spawn point as well, as Phantoms spawn on the opposite side of the map, the southwest side of the north, or southeast side of the northeast, and it's a very different style of attack onto this objective as we go into round number 2, map 2.
Yeah, very different indeed. Again, seeing almost like a 5-man commitment. This time, all going towards either hospital or warehouse, which is just south of hospital itself. Hospital being the one that has the ambulance on the north side of the building.
They're going to take early control of that building, and like you said, all 5 stacked up in here, all on the hunt. It does help in some ways that you have an easy, quick revive close by, but it can also mean that you end up losing 1 or 2 in a quick flash if you're too close. So it is really a practiced game to be able to work up as a full team and not clump up and expose yourself to more danger. Ooh, and those are some shots that come in that are basically indicators of their spawn. And now boss fight should know that this team has spawned in the south, and we should see a shifting in the defense, but instead they are still keeping 2 up in the north.
Yeah, and
that's
I
interesting.
Noticed, Archer, who is in center burning, if I'm not mistaken, is running a PKM with iron sights. No sights at all, no scopes at all for Archer on a PKM. That's telling you something.
It means that aiming isn't the important thing.
Accuracy through volume.
That is the nature of that gun itself anyway, so maybe it's They pick up body armor, a couple extra utility pieces. It is a thing that we never talk about because we don't really get to see what their kits are at all. But there is a whole other bit of competitive element in picking your loadout. As Legel picks apart a key here. They're down and Resable, though. No, they're
But
not.
not for long, as a nade comes in, perfectly placed.
I
perfectly
mean,
cooked.
oh, yeah, that is textbook. Shoot down. You can't find the confirm angle. Put a nade right on the position. I mean, that is a hand-thrown nade. That is really impressive toss for that to land where it did.
Seems like they're all now hunting for Lego, as Woods 43 finds a headshot onto Abluto. Gonna make it a 5v3 now in favor of boss fight.
Now Woods is looking for more there. Archer obviously still in the center as well. Nuclear does finally find the kill over by gas station. Opens up that south
Come from the gas station.
entirely for the rest of the Phantoms team, but they aren't really going through that south side. They're instead pushing up through the center, right underneath Archer. As Pablo tries to catch Wood, Tipo works themselves out into a position that Archer can find the kill. The flash comes up and over, and Archer maybe considering dropping downstairs to attack, but doesn't commit to that quite yet.
Archer is aware of the second player. And looks like the plan for Archer is simply to stay put and kill time, forcing Pablo to at least try and eliminate Archer, forcing the clock to wind down.
Oh, Nuclear doesn't see Woods. Woods is blended in to the dark background in front of them. We see them clearly, but you can tell when that goes off that they are hard to identify. And I think Nuclear just saw Woods and then finds the kill. A trade up through the center. Objective opens up a little bit. That corner we were talking about earlier is looking mighty fine for Nuclear right now, but they aren't pushing up to that outside just yet. Sayanora's here. Scooby is desperately sprinting back as nades come into the center. A great flash onto Sayonara, and Scooby's so far away. Sayonara goes down. Nuclear, are they going to get a cap? Are we going to see a reversal of this round? No, they're not going for it yet. They go for it too late. Scooby just barely saves it for a boss fight. Oh. Wow.
Yeah, that there is FPS timing in general. You hold the angle that you need to hold, then you quickly turn away, and it's that very moment where you get down.
I just saw all of the decision, I saw the processing going on, you know, and every play is such an interesting whole route there. You know, they had the smoke in hand and they saw Woods, but they still committed to the smoke. So they got the smoke out. Gun comes up, Woods goes down. They then push down and they hear the advance through the smoke. They get the flash out, find that kill, and they have a clear objective to cap on. Sometimes you'll see players commit and instantly pull tablet out and just go for it. And it's risky because you can die right there because there's in the player's mind, certainly another defender just around the corner. There's no way that nobody's here for long enough for me to cap. And so they push into a tight spot, and then again, you're right on the I call it onward timing, but FPS timing in general, as they just turn away at the wrong time. And what as for Scooby to get there, I mean, I'm sure Scooby took fall damage at some point. So I think they were at a high angle. I'm sure they just dropped from where they just jumped down from where they were damaged and sprinted all the way up to that angle to deny that cap. And if you're boss fight, that's a little too close for comfort. That's almost this map in Phantom's hands 2-1, but not quite. We obviously change objective positions, albeit pretty close in position there. Really almost just next door. We are going to see a very similar attack and approach style here, albeit maybe a bit faster as
Good to
boss
look
fight
for
get the
it.
south spawn and are much closer
sir.
to the objective.
We
don't have that play reversed.
Advantage.
Oh,
looks
no,
like
man.
it's
Take a
gonna be-
breath, man. This is crazy.
Looks we're gonna have a 4-1 split here as opposed to
It's
our
only an
5-man
advantage
push.
if you're better prepared
It
than
might
the
make
other
a
team, and I don't think we've
1-1-3.
rehearsed what we want to do.
Looks like they're gonna boss fight's gonna try and make a rotation to the north as Archer takes a first pick onto Pablo, making a 5v4.
Killed one Volk
Opening
Wow.
up the south a little bit more. And Bluto at the west scaffolding, trying to find that refrag onto Archer, who is on the first floor of hospital.
They almost have a line of sight into this bottom floor, but Eludo isn't looking there. They're looking up on the second story, anticipating Archer to be a little bit higher, but they are not. They just managed to catch an angle through a gap in the wall. So it makes sense that they're looking high, because where else could that shot have come from? But meanwhile, on the other side of things, Sayonara and Woods seem to be identified as Tipo takes some shots in their direction. That's an M203 nade that catches a key over the sand dune, and now Woods is pushing into the top of the roof to try and challenge Nuclear.
Second floor, big boy.
And they knew exactly where Aki was. There was a drone in play that Aki did shoot down, but not before the call-out was made, and that's how Legend managed to get that M203 kill. But
Okay.
still, a nice shot nonetheless.
I don't think I've ever seen this angle from Woods. Prone, looking underneath. I didn't even know they could look underneath. As Woods is waiting here. Oh, what a nade! From Sayonara, perfectly placed onto the ledge, gets rid of the opposition to Woods' advance, and now Phantoms are down to 2, and a dangerous 2 at that. Abe Ludo far away from objective, has to crash back now, and you see the rotation coming in. A wise decision to be made as Tipo is really alone here in a 1v5 right now.
That nade was critical, as the rooftop of that building is necessary to hold if you want to defend this objective. Because you can cap outside that building on that wall. It's possible that Tipo Duro could get capped on and not realize it.
Yep. You can cap on the second floor.
Yes, on the scaffolding.
But both Abe and Tipo are here. But for how much longer is the question. As they keep peeking out like that, it's not going to be much longer. The nade's there, Abe's down. Sayonara's flying in on the smoke. The cap coming in now as Abe is alone inside. Scooby also tablet out.
First.
A double attempt from Boss Fight as they go 4-0 on map number 2.
Wow. And might I add, it was Scooby-Doo that got the cap. Sayonara in the smoke had, what, 3, 4, 5 seconds ahead of Scooby-Doo and still could not get that code in.
Hats off to Scooby there for managing to put that in time. But also a pretty quick play. A 2-minute play, basically, with 3 minutes left on the clock. And just like that, the series is boss fights. Now, we still play out all 3 maps, like I said earlier. The reason being is that rounds 1 matter. And so at the end of the day, although Phantoms will be going down in rank, they do have an opportunity to minimize the damage done. If they can manage to put a few W's here on Downfall, which is where we're headed for map number 3, then they can limit how much they'll go down in rank. Boss Fight, on the other hand, obviously want to take map 3 just like they did map 2. And if they can, it'll be a nice solid 12-2 W. That is the end goal for Boss Fight. Phantoms obviously wanting to avoid that scenario entirely. And so it still should be a pretty interesting map number 3, but Boss Fight do come out on top. And we've had a couple of underdog stories this week that have favored the underdog. And in this case, Phantoms were the underdog, a bit lower in rank than Boss Fight. And so for Suburbia to start like it did, and for Map 1 to be so exciting. I hats off to Phantoms for playing really, even Quarantine, very well. I mean, like we said, they almost had a cap. That could have been 2-1, 3-2 right now on Quarantine. And who knows what would have happened on Phantom's approach. They put together great plays against Boss Fight here today. It just wasn't quite enough. Boss Fight definitely came to play, and we saw some, I mean, just again, take notes from both teams on their Marsoc approaches because they were so well coordinated on both ends.
Yeah, and to add to the fact of the Phantoms doing well, 2 weeks ago, they are matched up against the Beginners, the number 1 team in the league. The score was 10-10.
Yeah.
Beginners did win, but that just shows that the Phantoms, maybe they had a rough time today, but they definitely know how to play. They can definitely bring it.
I mean, hey, in theory, they could put the scoreline 8-6, which is pretty good, pretty close. So it's not out of the playbooks just yet. But we are waiting for a sub on Boss Fight's end, as they'll be bringing in another one of their 8 out of the roster into the action. It may very well be a Woods brother, but they are keeping Legal. So an interesting shifting of the Boss Fight roster throughout the course of this series.
Yeah, but it could also be Radarhead as well. I did see Radarhead in the chat, so it's possible that they could have their sparkly-headed friend join in on the match.
I think we are into a very brief timeout, which I suppose gives me a quick time to shout out everybody that is tuning in here this afternoon, whether you're on Twitch, Meta/FB, or YouTube, or Horizon Venues. We appreciate you all stopping by and hanging out this afternoon for what has been some very exciting VRML Onward action. I mean, this has been great to tune in here to this afternoon, and I really do appreciate everybody stopping by. Please do hit the follow buttons on your respective platforms, and if you aren't following on YouTube or Facebook, please go there and hit the follow button as well. We want to be growing all of the VRML platforms so we can continue to spread the word of VR esports to the world. That is the goal of VRML. We just want to continue to see and help grow the VR esports scene, which it certainly has been doing. Like I mentioned earlier, tons of new players have been coming in. So if you are new and you are catching this action on Venues, you can right now go to your Oculus library and download this game. It is a game you do have to buy, but it is often on sale. I feel like I see Onward on sale more often than I see it not. So if you are trying to save some money, then I would say keep an eye on the Onward Twitter, the Onward social media. Also follow the VRML Onward social media, because we will also be retweeting and liking when the game goes on sale. So be sure to check that out on Twitter, but also we have Instagram and I think TikTok as well. So get out there, follow all the social media platforms, please. It is really helpful for the league as a whole. We continue to grow those metrics. So we really do appreciate all of that support that the community ends up giving us. You might also have seen Echo Arena on this channel, and that is because Echo Arena is doing venue showcases as well in reverse times as we do Onward. So Echo Arena showcases around 12 p.m. PST Saturday, 6 p.m. PST Sunday. Onward showcases around 6 p.m. PST Saturday and 12 p.m. PST Sunday. Pretty consistently, 6 p.m. PST Saturday, 12 p.m. PST Sunday. So if you are enjoying this action and want to catch more of it, be sure to tune in next weekend. We also do regular season broadcasts as this matchup is throughout the course of the week on several channels over on Twitch at Onward_VRML and Onward_VRML 2 and 3. So please follow everything if you want to get involved, if you want to catch more VR esports. Also go follow Echo Arena_VRML. Catch all of the action, because there is a lot of it, and it is being delivered to your eyes. We've shouted out the sponsors. We've thanked all of you. I think we will be cutting into a brief intermission, probably only 2 to 3 minutes. And when we come back, we will be into Downfall for map number 3. Don't go anywhere. More Onward VRML action coming at you.
Yes.
Easy going right there. Look at him. One more to go.
Yes.
Bro, what? I had to get rid of him.
Nah, he was being toxic.
Every time he does this every day, man.
Why are you unbanning him?
I don't know, bro. Man. Go.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Onward VRML. Season 12, Week 13, Map 3, Phantoms versus Boss Fight. Phantoms on the attack, Boss Fight on the defense. Let's see what we get for round number 1 on Downfall. A bit more range, Nomad, than what we've had.
Oh yeah, quite possibly the largest map in our current map pool. You can't get much larger than this.
You know, I was thinking about it. Maybe Snow Peak could have like a line that's longer range than the one you can get on Downfall, but I don't know, because you could technically go to the top of the hill on Downfall, and yeah, I just don't think there gets any longer range than those shots down into the center. Obviously, no one really looking for that with Phantoms, but nonetheless, a very big map to work with, and it is a challenge to attack on in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and we get an old favorite for an objective, the helicopter bungalow. A very, I would almost say, open objective. You can cap behind the wall or within the bungalow itself, but it's definitely tough to get to the objective, as teams typically make a kill box around that objective, so it's incredibly tough to get access to it.
Lego watching South Street, Scooby, I think watching over the head of Radar here, who has pushed up into a position that we saw taken yesterday, and the matchup we had at 6 o'clock last night on Venues. Do you remember who was in that spot? I'll test your memory, because I certainly don't.
Dubsham.
Wow, that's crazy.
As a member of Blackwatch, we scrim Rest of Mafia quite often, so I do know where Dubsham likes to play.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't talk about it, but both of these teams, they know each other well. You know, Phantoms and Boss Fight have been playing each other for a long time. And there's a lot of footage to be reviewed and watched. And I'm sure both of these teams have done a pretty good amount of research, or at the very least, just know from, like you said, a lot of scrims and practice where these players like to go. And so it's a matter of, again, execution. How do you root them out of the positions that you expect them to be in?
Yeah, and maps like Downfall, but the objectives like Heli Bungalow, there's only a handful of different positions a player can take, so generally you know what building they will be in, but that's just half the battle. You got trying to root them out still. And Downfall's a very Volk favorite map, where it's just dark rooms with a dark colored avatar. It's tough.
Yep, it is certainly a task to push up to the objectives. It really does it becomes easier based off of your spawn. We haven't really talked about it at all, but Marsoc spawn in random positions based on the objective placement. There's, I think, 2 to 3 different spawn points per objective that Marsoc can spawn in, and it adds a bit of variety even to an objective, even when you know where the objective is, especially if you're on the attacking side, and that you really don't know where you're going to be pushing from until you're in the game and spawned in.
Yeah, Icy Woods, who was in the helicopter 2-story building, does find a kill onto Keels, who was at upper red. So what is already a tough attack to make as Marsoc become even tougher now with, wow, Legel and Scooby-Doo with the C4 tag team, and I think it was Chippo Duro. And now Scooby with the kill on Nuclear. This is now a
-1 upper red.
Now a 5v2 in favor of Boss Fight, the defending players.
They have cleared away the south push. And now it's Argentino and Pablo's turn to try and challenge Legel and Scooby, and at least they won't face the wrath of any utility, but they may face the wrath of Woods, who has still been tucked in to that defensive corner and hasn't peeked out.
Woods 43 has called him out. Woods 43 is aware of Argentino and Pablo's position, so this could be a tough push for them.
1 minute 15, base of 5.
But are they aware of Woods 43's position now? That's the key thing. That second floor of what is called sometimes South Brothel can can be difficult to handle,
Mm-hmm.
and you might
Oh
just
my
see it in action
goodness.
here.
Smoke from Bear.
Wow,
Smoke
what a
from Bear.
nade! Scooby-Doo with the explosives is going off.
They're looking for more. Trying to find the confirm onto Argentina. Pablo's tucked in against the wall. It is a bad way to be with 30 seconds left.
We got at least 2 near me. I grenaded one. Don't know. I can't double tap.
Yeah, and this is the first time we had. Well, there we go. Woods 43 with the South Brothel position, getting the final kill. That'll give Boss Fight their first point. And I think that's been the longest round so far this match.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was wondering where you were going with that, and yeah, it is the first time that we've gotten in to the final minute of a round in this series, but it still goes into the favor of Boss Fight first, and well, I guess Phantoms took the lead in map 1, but goes into the way of Boss Fight. They take lead again on Downfall. This has now been, gosh, I guess I'd have I don't know, yeah, 9 unanswered points as Phantoms got their 2-2 and have since then not managed to secure a W in a round since. And it's tough because when we're watching, it feels so much closer, you know? I mean, I guess that defensive round, they had 4 up. It was a solid hold. Great utility use. But especially on Quarantine, they really did bring things down to 1v1, 2v2s. Very close rounds, but just those final moments not going their way, and well, really the entire South push not going their way there, as Boss Fight managed to defend nicely, and now Phantoms swap sides. They go on the defense and have to hold from the Boss Fight attack, which I'm curious to see what they try and put together. We saw what I do always, I like to note it, pay attention to, is Phantoms deploying a bit of a different strategy there. Historically, they have stacked everybody onto one side and pushed. They were a bit more spread out, at least at the start and the midpoint of that round. And it wasn't really, I guess, until the end where they did try and commit to that south side. But still, a little bit of a different deployment there that doesn't necessarily work out for them. And I like to see Phantoms trying a variety of tactics to break through this Boss Fight wall.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't matter what you try, where your position is. Sometimes it's a brick wall, still a brick wall.
Yeah.
You just can't get through it.
Oh, very true. Very true indeed. Boss Fight have been playing a good game. Very deserved of the rounds that they have secured, for sure. Phantom still, though, on the hunt for a couple of points on this final map. Just have to see what happens. Probably very likely going to take a bit of time as Boss Fight initially set up into their forward positions and start the hunt for any information. That drone is out again. Downfall obviously deemed a large map, and so we do see that drone being deployed on the offense-only side. It's not a utility that you can get on
Sandbags
defense.
is clear. Brothel is top floor and killed the drone.
And on top of that, it's meant only for the, it's considered a marksman class. There's 4 classes of players you can have here: rifleman, support, specialist, and rifleman. Marksman.
There you go.
Or is it marksman?
No.
Yeah. And,
No. Isn't it just... Yeah, you're right. It's 4.
just
What
for
are
it.
they? Wow, what is the
Yes, yeah.
LMG's name?
Support.
That's where you're missing. We got him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So, and being a competitive, this is considered a competitive Onward lobby where you're restricted to a certain number of players to take a certain loadout. Marksman, you're only allowed 1 player, which means you can really only have 1 sniper or really 1 drone. Whereas rifleman, you have 3 players max. So specialist, you get 2 max, and support, you get 2 max as well. So you do have a bit of a variety of different classes, but it does limit you as to what kind of equipment a player can bring.
You never talk about it. I would love to be able to see loadouts of players. It'd be such a cool additional bit of information that would add a lot, to our cats because we would know what they're going in with, whether they're carrying C4 or utility. Obviously, we can see it on their vest in-game, as Tipo here has a nice nade and flashbang ready to go to defend from any advance up from that south side, but maybe one day. Anywho, into now 2 minutes of round number 2 as boss fight do slowly begin the advance. Woods pumping rounds down towards the key. This is to allow for Radar Head to work their way up into a position with some sense of comfort. Seemingly got here undetected. Well, they do
Radar
lose.
might be able to get Pablo.
Yeah, if they peek out that side window. No, I think the tree's denying them vision there. Either way, they're pinching on this objective now.
Well,
I
they
can
weren't
form
aware of
kill
Radar
on
Head.
the
They
market.
are now, as he gets a pick onto Acquise, who was in Helicopter 2 story.
Tipo. Gonna get challenged now as Woods comes flying up the stairs. Tipo not ready for that aggressive swing as they were hearing the footsteps of Legel beneath them and not of Woods behind. Radar has also pushed in. Boss Fighter crashing into this objective, and Nuclear is the only one left alive. And at least they are in a end-all be-all defensive spot. But it is a 1v2 now, not insurmountable. So we'll have to see how they hold on to this with a minute 40 on the clock.
Legel congratulating Woods 43 with the kill by killing Woods 43 himself. As making it
is that what
2v1
happened?
with that TK. Yeah.
Nuclear nearly goes down there. As Radar continues onto this flank and does find Nuclear on the backside. Boss fight. Take another round. I think that makes 10 unanswered points. No. 8 unanswered points coming in for this boss fight team. Either way, they have themselves a 2-0 lead now on Downfall. We swap objectives, as we have been throughout the course of this series, and Phantoms go back on to the attacking side. Our next OBJ, certainly one that can be captured, has a couple of vulnerable points, but we'll have to see what this defensive setup looks like and if Boss Fight have any gaps in coverage, because there are ways to really set up, like you said, successful kill boxes on almost every objective on Downfall and really force the Marsoc team to come into your kill box. And I don't know if Boss Fight are going to stick with that strategy, considering that they probably have a lot of confidence right now. They're in the lead. They already have won the series. I would imagine, if anything, maybe Boss Fight are going to look for picks. They're going to go on the hunt and maybe try and get aggressive on some angles. But that can also be sort of the downfall of a team, you know? It's always a matter of discipline, I feel like, in a game like Onward.
Yeah, and early picks can be the downfall of your team on Downfall, that's for sure. But it's, even with this objective, it can be difficult to set up a kill box because there is a spawn in the northeast side of the map that Marsoc could get. If they peek over that hill at the right time, they can get some early picks themselves, making a difficult attack a heck of a lot easier.
Yeah, we could see that commitment from them to fly up and go on the hunt to deny a good defensive setup. They do have not necessarily that. Yeah, this is the quick spawn. I don't think they can spawn on that hilltop on this objective, can they?
There's that one spawn just north of
Yeah,
where they
you're right.
were,
Yeah,
but
you're right.
there's one more to the south, but really, yeah, not really a quick spawn per se, this objective.
Nuclear does manage to get right up into the middle, but Phantom's not going to try anything crazy and fly up through the center. They all spread out to their respective edges and get into position. Looking like a 2-1-2 split. So it's going to be a matter of timing for this pinch to come together.
Yeah, just looking at the defense here, and Radar Head because it has a really interesting spot. Sitting on the stairs of North Red Truck, peering through the doorway and then through the window. Looks like trying to find someone at the army truck in the center of the map. Don't think Phantoms will be prepared for that one.
Super limited exposure, and that's the name of the game. In Onward, you really want to make sure you have at least 3/4 cover, if possible. As Woods takes some shots there, they tuck in, and Phantoms punts for Scooby up through the center. A little bit of action across the battlefield, but nobody connecting with anything, just poking and prodding, as you do in the first few minutes of a map like Downfall.
And I believe Scooby-Doo is aware of Nuclear's position. He's consistently looking, or maybe not, but was consistently looking at center bungalow where Nuclear was. But of course, as Scooby-Doo looks away, Nuclear moves.
Yeah, we saw, actually, wasn't it just when the last round when they were on defense, Scooby catching a kill from underneath here?
I believe so, yeah.
Definitely an angle they're familiar with, and certainly can shut down the north advance, but they have other things to worry about. Also want to be checking where those shots are coming from, and that is a little bit more risky to peek up through this doorway. There's a lot of potential lines that you can be shot from, and there are a few bullets getting sent down Scooby's way. Just precautionary and guesswork from Tipo, but again, just poking and prodding. And I mean, it's relatively successful. I mean, that suppressive fire is into or close by most of the defensive positions of boss fight.
Yeah, and those suppressive fire moments really drawing our primeval urge to see what that was and what it is, what we can do about it. And that can often lead to your own death on Downfall, which could be the downfall of Downfall.
Scooby getting a lot of information. They have audio
They
cues.
just made it to lower red confirmed.
On a south push. They have coverage of the north. They can swing and lick up to the middle. I mean, really a powerful position to be in, and certainly one that Phantoms need to
There's
get
also
rid
one
of
north
here.
bungalow.
Nice
Like a-
pick from Wars 43 onto Nuclear.
I mean, right off of the call out from Scooby. A great kill there. Uh-oh, C4's out. Oh, just a little bit too high. Doesn't catch Tipo or Pablo. They're both going to be able to work their way up, but Lego connects with one on the outside, and Scooby gets rid of Pablo in the center, and Phantoms are denied access through the south. And it's now down to Key and Argentino, and they do manage to at least get one, but they are in a 2v4 with a minute and a half left.
Estamos solos.
And those gunshots are going to draw all the attention of boss fight towards the lower red truck. And looks like Radarhead is aware of El Argentino's position, or precise position, I should say. And Icy Woods might get a pick here onto Achilles.
Ooh,
Otro menos al norte.
That was a key pick right there.
big. It's really now Icy Woods watching down onto this push and almost catches Argentino out, but exposes their position. Lego can't afford. Oh, they do. Swings wide, does get up onto that back rock coverage. Argentino finds Icy Woods. It's a 2v2. The front of the objective is wide open, and Scooby is far away from this OBJ. Lego, feeling the pressure, has to work up and has to cover onto the outside. Very exposed. Goes down to Argentino. Scooby still way off of objective. A key could push up to the OBJ as the smokes come in. The shots rain down and the suppressive fire. No, it's not enough. Scooby finds one. Can they find two? They do. What a huge double kill from Scooby. Boss fight are up 3-0. And Scooby is up 6-1.
Amazing play. We went from a 4v2 in favor of boss fight down to a 2v1 in favor of Phantoms, down to a clutch play from Scooby-Doo to give boss fight their 3rd point. Wow. Like enough said.
I mean, it's again another round from Phantoms where they're so close. I mean, that was almost a cap. They had the opportunity there. You know what I mean? It was a magazine away. You know, they were so close to getting out to that front of the objective, and just the final moments go the way of boss fight with some great shooting from Scooby for sure. And well, we're now looking at what could be map point for map number 3.
Yeah, and all of it taken was, I think it was Keys who was going for the cap.
Yeah.
If they were to be a bit further north, they would have been in lower terrain. Scooby would have had a harder time to get the kill, and it could have been very well a cap there. Downfall is a map where you need to know every square inch, as if you look at the map, there are so many buildings. Each building has their own callout. Each feature has their own callout. And there's so many different terrain features. You really have to know where you can cross safely, where you need smoke, and where you need suppressive fire. It's an incredibly challenging map to play, even at a higher level, even down to the basics of master level.
Back into the action we go. I completely agree with you. It's there's a lot of little nuance, a lot of small dips in the ground that you can lay prone in and be able to minimize exposure to. It's interesting in that way. And oh no, boss fight are on the hunt for an early couple of kills, but don't quite connect. They do manage to at least trap both Nuclear and Tiger behind that rock wall. And it seems like boss fight are trying to work up off that advantage as Scooby and Legal also have eyes in.
Right
And Tipo Duro, if they're not careful, could get picked off. They're doing their best to use the terrain to their advantage, get across.
The enemy is at the wall between Van Shack and Mid Hotel. Just behind the wall. Scooby is firing at it right now.
There's two of them. One is right in front of Van Shack, and one is where I'm shooting.
It's always interesting to tune into the comms sometimes.
If someone goes to the West
both
Road,
these teams super active on the comms. I just unfortunately don't understand Spanish. But I know that they are active over there as I hear a lot of conversation between the two of them. But Legal and Scooby both trying to work down
You got what?
this
And
defensive
what?
positioning here.
And we're starting to see a generalized Marsoc strat for boss fight. Send 3 or 4 members to the center or north or opposite end of the map, and send Raiderhead to the opposite end by themselves to get the flank. As we saw here, Raiderhead was at the West Road south side. It did not pan out for them as they get caught out. So they are fully aware of where Raiderhead is now.
Yeah, I think Radar was looking for the angle onto the wall there on Nuclear, but couldn't quite get it. They almost catch the angle onto Tipo there. Oh, and they think they got the kill, so this could be misinformation that could go into the favor of Phantoms.
We got now the first 2 kills of this round. 2 minutes and 20 seconds into the round itself. Now got a 5v3 in favor of the Phantoms, with Raiderhead now at Center Hotel. This could be problematic for the Phantoms.
Everyone is pretty tucked in, though. Nuclear against the wall. Radar won't be able to see there. Tipo, he thinks, is dead. Who is now actually dead. And I think Radar... I don't know if he gave away his position there, because there's a couple of guns that shot.
Radarhead does get the pick onto nuclear, and I was just looking there, and there was 3 lasers from 3 different Marshal members over nuclear's head. They are fully aware where nuclear was.
There's a dead body behind the wall
He
on the
comes
west
out,
road.
will not find purchase.
It's cold.
Ultimately, if
Northwest buildings, peek
Ledgel
south
was,
through the window.
maybe not. If Ledgel was able to rotate north, it could
Is
have
that
been a
Boulder?
Cat, but I think Achilles, who's in Heli 2-story darkroom, possibly catch up that cross.
Radar is just pushing up to objective.
Will not be aware of Pablo, as Pablo does get the pick.
Oh, that M203 launch just over the head of Pablo there on the other side of the wall. Boss fight just down to the 2. Lego trying to find their way through this defense. Phantoms only left with 3, but they do have a nice triangle and are covering important elements there as they get rid of Lego, just trying to push up through the dead center. Icy Woods alone in their attempts to lock in this map. Phantoms at least going to get 1 point on the board here on downfall. I suppose not yet. They still have to hold on. There's 1:15 left.
Yeah, don't count your chickens before they hatch now. But you were right. Phantoms will get their first point. Downfall. The first point in the past 2 maps.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do break the streak that Boss Fight were running with there, and I wouldn't say it's too late, as, again, any points help, but unfortunately Boss Fight already have 3, and they're only 1 away from maxing out. I guess they could technically get 5, but 1 away from taking map number 3 as well. So Phantoms really got to get that comeback energy going right now, and I guess they go on the attack to a new objective that is challenging to capture. Against a solid defensive setup, I rarely do see this objective taken anymore. But it is certainly possible. If you do end up losing the certain defenders, you can really lose a lot of control over this objective.
Yeah, there are key open crosses that have to be made if you plan on capping. One being in between the 2 dumpster buildings. One's known as lower dumpster, one's called upper dumpster, due to the fact that there is a dumpster right here, and with one being above it, one being below it. A very basic call out right there, some people might think. As well as a cross from Valley. Valley being the far south end of the map. So, a few key open crosses, smokes and suppressive fire, and overall great communication and teamwork are necessary to cap this objective.
See what we get from Phantoms on the attack as we go in to round number 5 of map 3. And again, I apologize for mispronunciations to the Phantoms fan. I just heard nuclear. I think you've been saying it right, but I'm going with nuclear. Nuclear. It is how it is spelled. So.
Oh, okay.
Nuclear and abluto. I think everything else we've been pretty good on. So maybe I haven't heard anyone say a key yet. So I don't know if where we're at on that.
I will probably be pronouncing them wrong because, I mean, I did fail French class, which French and Spanish, yeah. There's no help for me there.
Yeah, it's all right. I think the appreciation is here regardless. Certainly has been fun to tune in and watch this team tackle a opponent that is, well, very skilled. Boss Fight are a team that are very consistently at the top of the VRML ladder, consistently in the postseason. It's not an easy matchup here for Phantoms, but I certainly do think that they have put up a great fight in this series so far, and we'll see if they can continue to put up a couple of good Marsoc rounds. Really, I've seen some good plays from them so far. They are sort of in a bit of a holding pattern. I wouldn't say they're stuck, as they are choosing to take these pre-fire shots and whatnot, but they are trying to slowly work their way up with a lot of suppressive fire from both ends, from nuclear and from that LMG up from that 2-story.
And Nuclear must have spotted Woods 43 in a very uncommon building to be hiding in. Not typically well used, but when taken, is incredibly powerful.
Yeah, it has such great vision down onto essentially the entire objective space. But it is also, well, a concerning point for a offense that knows its power, and so it is diligently watched and being diligently suppressed. Was not really getting a lot of opportunity
somewhere, I'm not sure where.
to do a whole lot up here.
No, but even just being there, having the
Yeah.
enemy know you are there,
Yeah.
is just powerful in of itself.
I mean, hey, it's cost a lot of bullets. That's for dang sure. A lot of rounds have been directed up towards Woods to allow this duo to get into the 3-story.
And a lot of time with 3:10 left on the clock.
No kills yet either.
Abajo está nuclear.
¿Cuántos humos tenéis?
Uno.
Voy a tirar un humo hacia el Link. Yeah.
El Argentino,
Hola.
who's in
Hola.
upper red,
Look.
potentially finds Scooby-Doo, who's over at the Marsoc Springs Valley, which Scooby-Doo has called out, and we'll get the pick.
I was on board. Nuclear
Vaya humo de mierda.
absolutely struggling with their smoke grenade and getting it to where they wanted it to go.
El de Casablanca no ha caído
Sweaty
aún,
palms,
¿verdad?
maybe?
¿O sí?
I don't know what happened there, but they dropped it and then tried to redirect it and then still didn't get it out the window.
Oh,
Vale,
wow.
tiré a
What
uno
a pick
en
from
el objetivo.
Keys from in West Road onto Icy Woods, who is on objective. Gonna force a rotation from Radarhead. Over 4 minutes, but Woods 43 finally had a chance to fire some rounds and will find a pick.
Everybody up and at him on Boss Fight's side, and Phantoms dropping as they try and approach under the guise of their smokes. The hilltop positions are cutting them apart, and Pablo finds the bullets of Legal as Boss Fight secure their map number 3, 4-1. The final scoreline, 12-3, as Boss Fight end up working out a pretty solid victory here today, but an exciting game to tune into nonetheless, as it was a great effort from Phantoms. Again, a bit of the underdogs here up against Boss Fight, but like you said, they are certainly a team capable of challenging beginners, and like I've been mentioning before, I think all the teams in the top 15, maybe even top 20, could potentially win against one another in certain scenarios. You know, it's really so exciting to watch top tier Onward, because you just don't know what you're going to get. And, well, Boss Fight just put together a very good couple of rounds here today to get themselves 3 map wins.
Oh, certainly. GG's both teams there. Well played. We were looking for some high tier Onward, some great action, and we certainly got it today.
Oh yeah. I'm leaving this afternoon with a grin on my face. One big game to the next. But what a great game this one was to tune into. A shout out to everyone that did stop by, whether you were on Twitch, Meta, YouTube, or Horizon Venues. We do appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Please be sure to tune in next weekend, 6 p.m. PST Saturday, 12 p.m. PST Sunday, or Echo Arena, 12 p.m. PST Saturday, 6 p.m. PST Sunday. Follow this channel. Come back on Venues. That'll be it from us here at the desk. My name's Ben Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster Nomad. Until next time, stay classy.